Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce the min-maxed version of the 3.14 aura stacking Carrion Golem build, the CI version. This has been quite a challenge that GGG threw down with the targeted nerfs both to the aura clusters and the Carrion Golems themselves. But let me tell you, we've smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. Now, if you've been following the build guide this league from start to finish, you'll know that we've taken you from level 1 all the way to endgame, and now it's time to reach our full potential. When min-maxing this build, I had two goals in mind. Number one was to reach 300% aura effect, and that makes sure that we have maximum survivability and power. And the other one was to reach 200 million sDPS, just like last league. I can confirm both are achieved. So, moving away from the cheap stuff and onto the big boy toys. The first thing I'm going to do is roll some footage from last league, which really showcases how well this build performs, both survivability and damage wise. So I suggest you watch it. It's a good bit of gameplay. I'm not playing Golems this league myself, so I have no 3.14 gameplay, but what I do want to stress is that we are achieving the exact same numbers in both defense and DPS as last league, so the footage is completely relevant. If you're not interested, skip through the gameplay and we'll get into the build guide. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Now let's look at the juicy bits. So what are we achieving? Over 200 million Cyrus DPS, just like last league. Over 7.5k energy shield. A whopping 95% evade chance. 16.5k armor. 82% physical damage reduction. 90% all resistances. And of course we are 100% chaos immune. I think this snapshot's really useful. So the build on the left was the endgame build guide that I put out maybe a week and a half ago, and the build on the right is what we're moving to now. So significant changes there, as you can see, in all areas. This will not come cheap. Some of the items are going to be very difficult to craft. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to invest a lot of currency. But this is min-maxing. This is where all your money's going to go. This is what we started this build guide to eventually hit. So this might be a slow burner for most of you, but this is your target build. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at is the gear. Now, at the beginning, I did say I had two goals for my min-max version. One of them was to hit 300 aura effects, and the other one was to hit over 200 million Cyrus DPS. And to achieve that this league, considering the nerfs, I've had to make some sacrifices. They're not massive. There's one that I would have loved to have kept, but it's just not possible. So let's look at what we're doing here. Okay, top of the list is the weapon, and I feel that the best in slot is the battery staff still. Now there is a better version of this, but I don't think that's achievable this league, and that would be this one here, the GG battery staff, and that comes with the minions deal double damage on there as well. I just don't think that's possible, so I've actually toned it down, and we're going to look for something that looks like this. So you want the +2, the +3, and then it's all about the slam. And at that point, once you've got the +2 and the +3, and you've done the slam, it's probably going to come down to just re-rolling key prefixes over and over again until you get that aura skill. So yeah, not an easy craft, but achievable. Once you get that, it's then a multi-mod craft to get the minion attack speed and the minion damage. So achievable, but it's going to require some patience and some currency to get this. But I think this is best in slot. Considering the price of this compared to the mirror prices of the Convoking ones, which I'm going to go through some options now, so you decide. It depends what your budget is. So here you can see 53 million over on the left hand side per golem. And if we look at some options here, so the cold iron points currently what we're using. So from 53 million, they achieve 37. So cold iron points are now out of the picture. If we look at one of the minion ones, so all spell skill gems and all minion skill gems, 52 million, well, nearly 53 million, so about the same, but I would say significantly more expensive, especially for this role. To craft this is nigh on impossible this league, because you do have to still redeem or slam this, and because they're hard crafted, much more difficult to get a role that looks anything like this. I mean, this is a mirror wand, but I'm going to put it in there just to show you guys the differences and how well the battery staff actually performs. The best, there is a fractured wand, which looks like this. So that's 53 million. Let's go for the fractured wand. 44 million. These are not worth it. They are an upgrade to the cold iron points, but I think for the cost of these wands, it's probably not worth it. But your call. That's what the fractured wands look like. That's without the aura effect, should I say. And then we want to look at this one here. Yeah, so that's 54.5 million. So that is all spell skill gems, all physical spell skill gems. That outperforms all minion skill gems. And that's why the option's in here. But again, extremely difficult to craft. Like I don't think we'll see one this league. But I'm just showing you guys the options. And you'll see the difference, like if we're not using the Aura Redeemer mod, that's 54.5 million. 45 million. Sorry. Yeah, 45, 46 million. So that's how much the Redeemer mod actually adds to our DPS. And the best in slot would be this wand. Two of these would be absolute GG, best in slot. Done. But we're not going to see those either. Because this is a min-max video, I just want to showcase this. So overall, grab yourself one of these. Insane amount of energy shield, insane amount of DPS. For the helmet, we're still keeping the Flesh and Stone 30% reduced reservation. It doesn't look like they're going to patch that this league, which is a nice little boost. So we're going to keep that here. We're looking for a synthesized helmet with 15% increased effective non-curse auras from your skills. It needs to be a Hubris Circlet, or as best as you can get, because these are quite rare. And then on there, we want to spam Deafening Essences of Loathing. What that does is that guarantees the 5% reduced reservation of skills, and just keep spamming that until you get decent rolls on your energy shield. If you get an open prefix as well, you can then craft on the +1 level of socketed AoE gems, which is nice, and anything else is a huge bonus. Sakawal's Nest. We're looking for a +1 corrupted Sakawal's Nest. I had one of these last league, and I mean, even just to link and colour this cost me about 15 exalts in Val Orbs alone. So, expensive upgrade, but we're min-maxing, and this is best in slot. Breath Stealer Gloves. Now, last league I was using a lovely pair of Hands of the High Templar. I only had the +5 version myself, +7 would have been better, and you can see the DPS goes up by quite a bit. But we can't use those this league, because we need to use more points in our cluster jewels than we did last league to achieve 300% aura effect. 300% aura effect is what's given us 90% aura res. Which is really important, and it's also boosting every single aura that we're using. So it's boosting our DPS, it's boosting absolutely everything. So, Breath Stealer Gloves allows us to do that. If we look at the tree real quick, we can no longer path up to Golem Commander, but we need it. Because last league I was using 5 clusters rather than 6s. Now we need the 6s. That's the reason we now need to use Breath Stealer Gloves. So we anoint that with Golem Commander, and that gives us our extra Golem. Dariana's Delusion is the other change. Now you might think this is a downgrade, but it's necessary. So in order to smash the 200 million DPS, this is optional, by the way. I mean, you don't need to hit 200 million DPS. I'm just showing you how I would min-max it. We need to introduce a curse. And the best curse is Assassin's Mark. Just cast that on Cyrus, and away you go. So what this allows us to do is have Purity of Lightning in our boots, hard crafted into the boots, and then we can swap out our, what used to be, if I could just find it, that'd be... Right, yeah, it allows us to swap Purity of Lightning out for Assassin's Mark. That's it. So that's an option. If you don't want to go down the curse route, then you can just use the the GG boots that you've been crafting, and not use Assassin's Mark, and then your DPS will be sort of 42 million per golem on Cyrus. Okay, the amulet that I've got here, this is GG, best in slot. I'm not suggesting you go out and actually attempt to craft this, because that's a hell of a lot of chaos spamming, I would say. But that would be absolute GG, best in slot. If you already have a Simplex amulet with clarity, reduced mana reservations, that's going to perform absolutely fine. This would just be the ultimate upgrade. Rings, I've taken out the +3 socketed, which I had last league, because I just don't think that's achievable. It would be nice to have, so if you get rings that look like this with +2, +3 socketed gems in them as well, then well done, you've won. But I've taken that out here. So these are the rings that we've been aiming for endgame. As you can see, we're using shot nearby enemies, and I've taken Aspect of the Avian off of my boots and put it into one of my rings. Still using Darkness Enthroned, it's insane. and 2 of the best reservation, energy shield, minion damage jewels that you can get. These are very expensive. You probably pay anywhere between 50 and 80 exalts for one of these. So, yeah. But just get the best ones you can get in there. The flasks are still the same. We're looking at the Experimenter's Basalt, Experimenter's Stibnite, Experimenter's Granite, the Bottled Faith, and Quicksilver Flask. Okay, let's look at the gem links. The gem links are a little bit different now because I'm using Doriani's Delusion in this version, which has allowed us to move Discipline into the helmet and put Assassin's Mark in the ring. We're getting a little boost here because the helmet is +1 AoE gems. So we're running Val Haste, Val Grace, Divergent Determination, very important, make sure it's a Divergent, and Val Discipline. In the boots, we're running Animate Guardian with Raise Spectre, Raise Zombie, and then I've put options in here. Feeding Frenzy is going to feel the best for mapping, but I feel overall Meat Shield is probably the best option, but feel free to test these out. If you're doing juiced ultimatums, the feedback that I'm getting is they're extremely rippy, so you might want to drop Feeding Frenzy for Meat Shield. I think this is probably the best overall performer, but if you are just running maps, Feeding Frenzy will perform just fine. In the gloves, we've got Dread Banner, Divergent Dread Banner, Divergent Precision, Awakened Generosity, and Pride. In the gloves, Anomalous Flesh and Stone with Flesh and Stone, linked to Maim with Convocation. These will also be in the weapon as well because we're using a staff, so Purity of Fire, Purity of Ice, and Flame Dash. The chest, we are running a level 21 Carrion Golem with level 21 damage on full life, Awaken Brutality, Awaken Multi-Strike, Awaken Minion Damage, and Awaken Melee Fizz. In the ring we have Assassin's Mark, and in the other ring we have Vitality, Divergent Vitality. The Amulet's still giving us clarity, Bone Armor is coming from the Ascendancy, Vulnerability is coming from the Animate Guardian, which we'll get to later, Purity of Lightning is coming from the Doriani's Delusion boots, and Aspect of the Avian I currently have crafted on my ring. Okay, now looking at the tree, we've had to make some significant changes here compared to last league. The first thing you'll notice, and this was the same last league, but we have to take the third cluster over here. The big differences are, now we have to use 6 clusters, 6 notable clusters. Instead of 5s, we could get away with using 5s last league because the aura effect wasn't nerfed. This league it is nerfed. And what that means is that we have to use more notables to actually complete these clusters, which means we can't path to Golem Commander. This was the reason why we have to use the Breath Stealers now, so we can anoint Golem Commander in the Breath Stealers. And we can use the notable points to actually achieve 300% aura effect. So, let's go through the jewels. So the large clusters are the same. We want 3 of these. And then the medium clusters all look like this. So Replenishing Presence with 35% increased effect. Intelligence and Attributes are the GG ones. So we need 5 of these. And 1 that looks like this. Sublime Form, Replenishing Presence, Attributes, or Intelligence. Sublime Form could also be Uncompromising. Nobody at this stage should have any other enchant on their helmet other than Flesh and Stone, so you won't get any sort of cancelling out issues with Sublime Form or Uncompromising. So, yeah, that's what this should look like. And those are your 6 clusters. They all need to be maxed out. Just to go over the jewels one by one, so I'm using the Watcher's Eye with phasing and extra energy shield from Clarity. 1% Eminence. 1% Fortress Covenant. 1% Conqueror's Efficiency. 1% Eminence. 1% Primordial Might. 1% Primordial Harmony. Another 1% Eminence. 1% Anima Stone. Yes, you do need a 1% Anima Stone. 1% Might of the Meek, and guess what? Yeah, a 1% Intuitive Leap. Okay, by this point, your Animate Guardian setup should absolutely look like this. We have the Kingmaker as a weapon. In the helmet, we have a life plus chaos resistance plus nearby enemies take 9% more physical damage. In the chest, we should have high life with percentage life and chaos resistance, and nearby enemies are blinded. In the boots, we can just use Victorious Flight, and in the gloves, we're looking for life with chaos res and curse on hit with vulnerability as a corruption. So for the Spectres, I'm still using one Carnage Chieftain, one Host Chieftain, but now we can run 3 Spectres. So the option for the third Spectre would be a Thay of Tull or an Arena Master. You can choose, you can test those, see whichever one you find feels best. But what I did play about with last league is actually running 3 Syndicate Operatives instead. It's very rare at this point because your Golems just delete absolutely everything. It's very rare that your power charges will actually rise to like above 2. So I started using Syndicate Operatives for better clear, and it works really well, so feel free to test that as well. If you think about the way that Golems actually play, so they're like your caretaker, so phasing is extremely important for this build. So you run through a pack, they follow you, they delete everything, off you go. But the difference is there's no front-loaded damage here, so anything in front of you or to your side, you sort of got to path over that way to clear those mobs, and Syndicate Operatives will actually do that job for you. Whilst mapping, I thought they felt absolutely phenomenal, and at this point, it's very rare that your chieftains or your power charges, fencer charges will get above 2, so I didn't really feel the full benefit of having those in, and I found that Syndicate Operatives felt great. This league, haven't tested it, feel free to test it, let me know your feedback and how that works out. Okay, and that's the wrap up for 3.14. I've taken you from level 1 to level 100, and from 0 DPS to 200 million DPS. I really hope you enjoyed the journey. GGG definitely threw down the gauntlet this time, with the direct nerfs to the Carrion Golem and the aura stacking clusters, but I've achieved what I set out to do, and I hope you guys enjoy the min-maxed version. So if you do want to see something like this next league as well, please, it's so important you hit the subscribe button, like the video as well. If you want to see when I do post a new YouTube video, then hit the bell. You can follow me on Twitter, and I'm also streaming on Twitch Monday to Friday. The links will be in the description. I just want to say that a lot of the teething issues at the beginning were overcome through power of community. The Discord now has about 3,000 members, many of which are playing this build, many of which are at endgame and will be looking to begin min-maxing now. So if it is something you want to get into, then I strongly suggest that you do join the Discord. It's extremely helpful. I'm always on there and I'm always helping the community as well. So yeah, that's it. That's my plug. So thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.